So we can just start with this, right? We can just start with this. This thing is like really exciting. This is one of the first times like I've seen a piece of technology that really is, I mean, it's just on a whole different level. But before we actually get into that, I'll definitely have to switch up some of the things, right? And yeah, so I'll have to switch up some of the things. Let me just do that. I'll just go to mm, most probably I'll go to filters and I'll just increase the gain a little so that I'm much better audible, and I'm also going to change the default right now whatever we are using, and I'm going to change it to NVIDIA broadcast so that the audio is a lot clearer. I mean, it has some features to clear up the audio, but I'll have to just listen to the playback a bit to understand if that is working correctly. So we can go back to YouTube and see how this whole thing is working and sort of start from there. And yeah, let's just get on with it. Get on with it, right? And I can view my channel, and let's see, we are live, so I can also hear what sort of things that I want to do. Like it is working, but it's not that good right now, right? I mean, it can definitely use some improvement. And like it's going a lot up, but, 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 but anyhow, I don't want to digress too much, but just get into what we were actually working on. And I have set everything up. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. Xenova Transformers. Now, what they are, um, like if you are running a AI application, you build an AI application, and you want to use it. Let's say provide the functionality to your users. What is going to end up happening is that need uh, you'll need a backend server running those models, and that is not cheap. It is very expensive. Like that is some of the most expensive thing that you can do is to uh, use a web server with a GPU attached to it. And so Xenova Transformers just provide us with this alternative. uh, they let us run the LLM model or the AI model directly in the browser. And the benefit of that is you don't have to run the model on your server. So you can significantly cut down the cost of providing your services. Like you're still providing the features to the user, you are just taking the expensive computation, and instead of doing it on the server for which you have to pay, you do it on the client side which is on the user's computer. So like this is some really good shit here. And while I was working on it, what I did was simply configure a, a normal sort of, I configured a audio recorder in Svelte. Like it's normal JavaScript, so it I don't think matters a lot. But yeah, you can just use the media recorder and media stream web APIs, which are natively available in almost all web browsers. But to use the Xenova transformers, you just have to be careful because it isn't just going to work for you if you just go ahead And it is not compatible with all browsers. So yes, Chrome and Chromium based browsers support it, uh, especially the latest versions. So you can go with Chrome, Edge, Brave, and all of those. But if you are on Firefox, you'll have to enable web GPU support, which I guess is something that you have to do from the flags option. But let's just read through it and how they are doing it. Okay, so this example that they have given is related to React, and it is related to translation. So I think that we'll be able to configure something like this by almost going one to one with React. I love walking my dog, and the target is French. Let's just try it out. Let's see how this works, and then we can go ahead and start configuring our own app with these features. So it is going to first load the model, and it has to do that only once. Uh, but I think that the first count, that is the first time you use it, it is going to take its sweet time loading the models. But on subsequent requests, it should run fast because the models are already loaded. Let's just see if something is happening in the console as well. Okay, so I don't know how this is going to work out, but I'm hoping for something that actually provides a much better experience right here to us. Pum, 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 pum. Till the time this is happening, let's also go and read through the documentation a bit to understand what sort of things we have to do. I've got Node installed, npm installed. I've created a Svelte app instead of a React one. And I've also installed Xenova Transformers. Okay, so I'm guessing that we'll be using it in a web worker instead of, let's say, in the main thread. So the web worker simply offloads the work to uh, another uh, thread, so that the main thread can continue doing what it wants to, like rendering the UI. If the main thread is blocked, then it would appear to the user that the whole web page is not responding, and that can lead to poor user experience. Users may even end up quitting the browser altogether. And the second thing it says is that 1 GB download, so we don't want to download it until and unless we have done this. Okay, uh, we'll create worker.js in the source directory. Okay, so a singleton pattern is simply a way to create an object so that it is initialized only once and then used everywhere else. So you can think of this like a navigation bar, which you want to have a single instance of throughout your entire application, so that uh, you know you don't have multiple of something taking up too much space, causing performance issues, or just causing compatibility issues. So if we want to go that route, let's just try this. Let's just go to our what it said to us, and that is to go to our lib directory, and we can go over to utils, and I've already created that has pasted this from over here to over here, and I've named it the worker.ts file. All right, that sort of works, but then we also want to go ahead and okay, what if I just take this, right, and I go to the browser over here, paste the link, and just have this over here so that I can read through it and apply whatever changes I need to apply. Come on, work, dude. Why won't it work? Maybe it won't work. Alright, no problem. It's not a big deal. Like, like we were going for something easy, but we basically take this code and we paste it here. So I guess pipeline works like it just takes the output and puts it in the next function, and then the next function, and then the next function. Audio classification pipeline, automatic speech recognition. We have got image to text. So these options have been defined already. Let's go here. Okay. We can create a new what is it that we wanted to create a new of? Okay, we can create a reference to our object, right? So let worker is equal to dollar state, and we'll store it as null. So that will work like our ref, I suppose. But I don't think we need it to actually be reactive, right? And then we can go with, okay, we have a effect, and if there is no worker setup, we set up a new worker. And we can kind of do that with Svelte as well. So instead of use effect, we'll go with effect and see how that works. Uh, if worker, that is, if worker isn't present, we are going to assign this whole thing, right? And also we are going to add ts no check, so that it shuts up. And I don't even think that we need to do any of those things. Like, so the worker module is different from the worker that Node.js provides. So right now we need to be in the browser to check for this, right? And the good thing about this effect is that it is only going to run if uh, it is going to run only in the browser. So for now we can just leave it at that. Maybe we'll later configure some other things. Okay, and then what we have is on message received. Okay, so we can also sort of do all of those things, but we'll have to do that in Svelte action. So let's create a section and go with use initiate worker, right? And we'll have a function initiate worker, and in this function we can kind of have our use effect sort of thing. So we'll first of all set up the worker itself, and if the worker isn't present, actually, that is if the worker is null, uh, then we are going to define what happens on when the message is received. So this will be a function, and we can remove this now, right? And then we'll have, so the workers can have an event listener attached to them, and that is how actually the workers work. So we'll go with worker dot add event listener, and when the message is received, we are going to run on message received, right? That sort of works. And when we are destroying this, uh, return, we can return an object with a destroy method, and this is simply going to be worker dot remove event listener, and further we are going to say worker is equal to null. So that actually clears things up when when this whole thing is unbounded, right? And then we can say uh, why is that happening? Script, we have closed the script tag actually, yet we are getting some issues with this, right? What the hell has happened to the editor? Okay, let's just remove this and kind of go with okay, something is a mess. Okay, initiate worker. This is going to take an HTML element as its value, though we don't have to use it. So I'm guessing something is wrong over here, right? And what could actually be wrong in here? Okay, now things work properly. Okay, we are going to create a language selector. Uh, we already have a components folder. Do I just go ahead and create one in this? Okay, so this is inside the UI, so I guess we can just go ahead and create language selector.svelte, and we'll just have this as reference over here. So we'll go into the script tab and just lang ts, and we can paste this over from here to here so that we have a list of all the languages available to us. Then for the component that we are creating, uh, we also need props, And looks like we'll have three props. Right, so we have defined our props, and right here we can actually go through this, but in Svelte we have to kind of go the other route. So we cannot just go ahead and say like dot map and create the whole thing. We have to use the each block. So first of all, we are going to create a label, and we'll also look at if Shadcn Svelte has some interesting components for us. So select. Yeah, we do have something. We'll just take this pnpm and we'll create a new terminal and just add this. And that does our trick. And to actually use it, we can just go ahead and paste this. And we'll take this from over here and just import it, right? And that should solve our issue over here. Then for select.content, of course we are gonna have to go ahead and take this sort of thing like an option, and I guess this is how this also works. So for each uh, uh, languages as lang, we are going to do something. Okay, so instead of this we'll have to create object.keys, or what I can do is instead of even that object.entries, because that provides me with both the key and the value, and for this I can go with so the first option is going to be the uh, key and the second is going to be the value, right? and and since I have both of these, right? Sorry, so again the same mistake that I made yesterday. Basically we have to deconstruct, like we'll get an array and we have to deconstruct these tuples values out of that. Anyhow, we can go ahead and say that the value in this case is going to be value, and the option in this case is going to be the key. That is the option that is visible to the user. We can remove both of these things and this should work out for us, right? And the next thing is that we also want to provide a label. So let's just see what kind of a label we get. uh, do we have to provide a label directly with this, and how do we use it with this? Okay, select value, placeholder, language, but like if I have to provide a, let's say, though we can look at that later, let's just go ahead and close all of these things up and just open up things that we want. So we want transformers page dot layout, and in here we are obviously going to get our language selector, and we'll have to pass some things to it, and those include what? Type on change and default language. So we can go with let. This is going to be a function. Type on change. Change. Okay, okay, and we can just go ahead and provide the options like this, and we can spread it out like this. So we have passed in the props for passing in the props, right? And kind of want to just go back and look at what we have actually for now. So let's go ahead and see, check out localhost 5173 and see if we have something over there. And obviously this isn't going to work because I have to go to transformer. So we have one transformer. No, that won't work either. Trans FORMER transformer. Okay, so here we have our selection stuff and all of those things. I can also just look at label and how to configure it. So if I'm going go with an input element, input type email, placeholder is this, right? We can get the label, but a similar example for the select option, is it available? I think I can try bits UI and see if it has some more documentation on the select field. Okay, so in that case, I'm going to install this. Not this, sorry. I want to add label. So you can go ahead and copy this, and then in terminal we'll add the label itself, and that helps us out somewhat. Uh, yes. Okay, so I think I already have it installed, and I can just select the label as well. In this case, the label I need it needs to go over here, most probably label, and where do I import it from? I mean, I don't think I need a label right now, but let's just go ahead and see what we can go and do right now. And let us also get the progress bar for this, and let's see its usage as well. And we need a value for this, right? Okay, we'll need a value and we'll need a set timeout function that happens after a particular button has been clicked, right? Okay, that works fine with me. Like, yeah, that works fine with me. I'll set it to 0, and when this thing starts loading, we can start the whole process of showing the bar. Ready, disabled, progress items. Okay, let's do that. Why not? We can have a few options. Let ready equals state null. Let let's see what we have here. We have these two particular codes that we can use. So it would be English to French. Okay, let's take a break. And let me just work on the audio a bit too, because I think that it just stopped for some reason. But we can just start. Uh, we can just we can just start once again. And we have this function. It increases the value of this thing over time, right? And that happens on mount. uh, Value, we can set it to value, and let's just see if that animates. Okay. I haven't used it in such a long time that I've even forgotten where to import it from. LOL. LOL. Okay, it is directly imported from Svelte. Um, that was embarrassing. And let's go ahead and see what kind of animation we get right here. And it is working. I guess there is something going on behind the scenes. Like maybe it may have been a tweened store. But yeah, we can just go ahead with this. So what I'm guessing here is that we are going with a bind value, which in React may be the default value. And I think this is the one that has it. No. How do I bind the value? Hmm. But then what is this portal option? Let's try it out. Closed on escape. Okay, I think that simply copying from React was a bad idea because the things are pretty different in here. So I kind of don't have to pass in an on change function. But since I'm passing an on change function, so since this is a generic function, I have to sort of get something in here. But what can I get in here is the real problem. So I have change event handler, and I can see that it extends event target. Uh, it takes in an event and returns any. Do I have to define the current target? Okay, this is going into a very different direction. On selected change, I think that there is more information available in here. So we define this. We've got languages. We have a schema. Okay. Then we are importing the select field. And maybe I'm doing it incorrect because I don't even have to pass in the value in this way. We can go in a different direction entirely. And to do that, we are going to use Svelte specific features. For instance, we have got what do we have? Okay, we are just going to define the function right over here. We are going to take E, and the function that we defined here, that is source language is equal to x.target.value, right? Uh, Instead of that, we are going to define the type of lang that we are going to provide. Okay, so lang option is equal to e dot target dot value, and I think that should do it. But of course, we have got to define our okay. Okay, selected lang. We can go with that definitely, and it can be forgetting something. So key of type of will give us all of these as a union, but we don't want that. Instead, we want just the values. Right. Mm, okay. Okay, so this is quite helpful. I guess I can go with that answer because if I have to go with selected lang, I can go with uh, right, and that is, of course, mm, not what we want. Okay, so this guy is deriving it from the types itself. So I'll want to first derive the type based on this thing, right? Uh, so again, I can break that down into multiple steps, but let me just see if I can go with type of language. Uh, Okay, so we are getting all of this as const. That is our problem over here. And we can sort of look at how to define this properly. Okay. Okay. So this is going to give me these things, a union of these types, but that is not what I'm asking for. And that just gives me the type as string for the whole thing, which is definitely not what I want. So maybe I'll have to use as const as defined by the second answer. Right, so we can go with as const. That gives us better type inference because now instead of saying this is just string, we are getting the actual value of each of these uh, properties. And then when we use these values as the uh, keys of this, I think we'll get what we actually want. And in this case, this is what we wanted and this is what we got. Right. I can go ahead and save this answer kind of. Like, this is a good answer. This will work if, like, this is the exact problem that you have. But if you want to take an object and then create a type from the values of the properties, then this is the answer that you're going for. I'll also kind of copy this and save it in Notion because sometimes when I come across a problem, I and I don't record it, uh, it just becomes something that I forget, and that is something that I do not want. So the date is 2024 2008 25. Right. And I'll also store the link to this. Okay, pretty good. I can like my own tweet, which is like amazing. Oh, seems like Matt Pollack also has a particular this on this. So maybe I'll just watch it for a bit, see what it's all about. So I guess I'm gonna go because I've got skill issues and I need to learn some of the concepts right here. So peace out. We'll meet next weekend most probably because I've got office and I'm busy this Saturday. So Sunday it is. Till that time, hasta la vista. Hasta la vista.